Every accusation they make is something they've committed themselves. We're tired of this double standards and we're going to expose you for everything you've said. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you guys doing? Today I'm going to be reacting to the Nelk boys' interview with Benjamin Netanyahu. And interestingly enough, for those of you that don't know Arabic, Nitin in Arabic actually means stench. A terrible stench. So what a befitting name for Benjamin Netanyahu, or as I call him, the stench. Every single statement that he made was a lie. Everything he said was a lie. So if I were to point out and refute everything, the video will be 5 hours long. I picked out the 4 most attention-grabbing points that I saw, and I will refute them and respond in kind. Bismillah.
How about women? Okay, women in Iran, they shoot the women. They shot this extraordinarily brave and beautiful woman, shot on the sidewalk because she showed too much hair. In Israel, women are, you know what women, I'll tell you what the difference is, okay? So I had this young woman officer in my military secretariat. The prime minister has military secretariat, and usually as a general.
Don't act like you care about women. Do not act like you care about the lives and the security of women. Any woman that was killed, Iran, any other country in the world, any innocent woman that was killed, our hearts yearn for them and we are saddened by this. But don't act like you care about women when since October 7th, according to the UN Women's Organization, UNWomen.org, over 28,000 women and girls have been killed. Over 28,000 women and girls have been killed since October 7th. That's 1 woman per hour on average. Don't act like you care about women's lives and women's security. And the most heart-wrenching example of this is the case of Hind Rajab. Hind Rajab was a 6-year-old child when her aunt, her uncle, and her cousins fled the neighborhood that they were living in Gaza. And on their way out of the neighborhood, the vehicle was shelled and shot over 335 times. Confirmed. It was shot. You wouldn't even shoot the enemy 300 times. How was Hind's car, Hind, her cousins, and her aunt and uncle, these children, these civilians, how were they shot 300 times? Don't act like you care about women's lives. And it was actually recorded that the first call was made by Layan, her cousin. And she called and she said, the tank is next to me. They're shooting at us. Then the call cut. Hind then called the second time. And she was on the phone with the Red Crescent for 3 hours, pleading with them and telling them that she needs help and for them to come. And she was recorded to have saying, I'm so scared, please come take me, please, will you come? The ambulance after 3 hours was allowed to come. And they were targeted by the IDF, lasered down and shot. 2 of the ambulance workers were killed. 12 days later, not the same day, 12 days later, Hind was found dead in the car with the rest of her family. So don't act like you care about any of these women's lives or their security or their rights. Don't act like you care. 28,000 females have been killed in this genocide that you guys have been committing on the Gazans. Don't act like you care. Now I want everyone to hear the recording of Hind on the phone with the Red Crescent to see the atrocity that was committed to this poor little baby girl.
ميتين؟ وهم هلا معك بالسيارة؟ انت هلا وين متخبية هلا؟ وين انت هلا محمية؟
بالسيارة.
جوا السيارة انت صح؟ مش برا السيارة.
صح.
طيب خليكي يا عمري بالسيارة، أنا رح أتمني فاتح الخط معاكي، أتمني أحكي معك، ما بدي أسكر التليفون، تمام؟
الدبابة جنبية.
الدبابة وين؟
جنبية.
الدبابة جنبكم؟ ما عم تتحرك ولا واقفة؟ نزل حدا منها؟
هي بتتحرك.
تتحرك؟ طيب هي بتتحرك جنب السيارة ولا هي جاي من ورا السيارة أو من قدام السيارة؟
من قدام السيارة.
هي جاية عليكي من قدام السيارة الدبابة؟ قريب كتير؟
كتير.
وعم تمشي؟ طيب ما بدنا نخاف.
نحكي معي.
أنا معك يا عمري، أنا معك، أنا معك ليجي حدا ياخدك، ما بدي أسيبك لحالك.
لما يجي حدا بتفصل طيب؟
إيه؟
لما يجي حدا يكون بتفصلي.
لا أنا بدي أتمني معاكي لأطمن إنه حدا هلال أو حدا جاي ياخدك. بديش أفصل، حتى أنت إذا أجا لا سمح الله الجيش ما تفصلي، خلي الخط مفتوح، ما بدنا نفصل، أنا معاكي.
لا ما تعجبيني.
إيش يا عمري؟
خليكي معي.
يا حبيبتي يا عمري والله معك، هيني أنا مش تاركك، بحكي معاكي، ما بدي أصلا أتركك.
أكثر من ساعة.
إيه؟
أكثر من ساعة. أنا بكون موجودة حتى ليلة.
إيش؟
حتى ليلة بخاف.
حبيبتي والله لو بإيدي لأجيكي. نحكي يا الله.
الله.
يا رب تحمينا.
يا رب تحمينا.
The first claim was that he acted like he cared about women and the life of this woman that was killed, and this man, this devil, this stench, this filth acts like he cares about the innocent lives of people killed while they commit genocide in Gaza. The next clip shows that the Nitin, the stench, says that Israel doesn't kill babies or starve people. Let's watch the clip and respond in kind.
Over for dinner and stuff. But I see, like, that's the thing too. I'm not claiming to be an expert too, but I'll just read stuff on like X, and like people will say like Israel's killing babies or like they're starving people.
That's completely false. In fact, the reason we have civilian casualties.
That's completely false? That's completely false? That you're not killing babies and starving people? If these people were allowed to speak without being challenged, the whole world would believe them. How do you say that you haven't killed babies and you haven't starved people when more than 50,000 children have been reportedly killed or injured in Gaza, according to UNICEF? Over 50,000 children have been killed since October the 7th. How do you say you haven't killed? I don't know. Some things are so crazy you don't know whether you laugh or you cry about it. And I'll just give you a couple examples of strikes that innocents were targeted in. The Engineers Building airstrike, Jabalia refugee camp strike, Al-Shifa Hospital, and Nasr's Children Hospital, Kamal Adwan's hospital. All are examples of civilian targeted attacks which caused the death of hundreds of children. They attacked hospitals where electricity was cut and babies in incubators died because they couldn't keep them alive. What do you mean you haven't killed babies? What do you mean you haven't? You've striked refugee camps. You've striked all the hospitals in Gaza. Who will you kill there besides babies? Who? Refugee camp. Who would you kill besides children and innocents? The IPC issued a warning. A worst case famine scenario is unfolding in Gaza. 1 in 3 Palestinians in Gaza are starving. 1 in 3 Gazans are starving. This is according to UNICEF. Human Rights Watch stated that Israel is using starvation of civilians as a method of war. You've been starving civilians as a method of war? You coward? You starve the civilians, and that's the only way that you think you'll win this battle? By starving innocent women and children? Human Rights Watch have said that you've been using starvation as a method of war. On November 21st, 2024, the ICC issued arrest warrants for Netanyahu and Defense Minister Gallant for the war crime of starvation. You've been called out. You have a warrant for your arrest for starving the Gazan people. Don't come on a podcast in front of millions of people and lie. Respect the people's intellect just a little bit. You stench. You Nitin. Israeli official Bezalel Smotrich, ugly name, I have to say so myself, declared that blocking humanitarian aid, even if 2 million Gazans died, was justified and moral. These are the people, these are the people that come on and try to teach us about morality. Don't say you haven't killed babies. Don't say you haven't starved people. Respect the people's intellect a little bit. The next clip shows the stench saying that the Gazans should leave if they want to. We're not locking them in. Hamas. These people, every single thing they say, every single accusation they make is admission of what they have done themselves. He says that the Gazans should leave if they want. They should have the freedom to leave. Why aren't they leaving? Let's see the clip and respond.
He says, you know, at the end of this war, the people of Gaza should have the choice. If they want to leave for other countries, they want a freedom of choice. Why are they locked in? Hell, we're not locking them in. Anybody could leave, but Hamas is locking them in. Suppose they want to leave.
We're not locking them in. Anyone can leave. Hamas is locking them in. This subhanallah, Allah allowed you to have this name because it fits you perfectly. Stench. You're a stench. If there was a human that embodied stench, it's you. He says that the Gazans should leave. How can the Gazans leave when Israel controls the Gazan airspace? Israel controls the airspace, the sea access, and all land routes, except Rafah, which it politically pressures Egypt into closing. Since October 7th, Israel has sealed all the crossings. According to Human Rights Watch, Gaza is under full control with no way for civilians to flee. The Gazans should leave. They should have the freedom to leave. How can they leave when you guys have locked them out? Disgusting. Israel orders civilians to evacuate from North Gaza to South Gaza. There's examples when they told the Gazans, flee to the south, evacuate to the south so you can be safe. But then they bomb the areas that they tell them to flee to. And what is disgusting about this specific statement is that what they accuse, every accusation they make is something that they've committed themselves. When Israel and Iran had the skirmish they had, the 12-day war, and Iran was bombing the shit out of Israel, Israelis wanted to leave because the nature of you guys have to understand, the nature of this population, of this group of people is cowardice. The nature of these people is cowardice. The moment they see a sense of danger, they flee. So naturally the Israeli citizens wanted to leave. What did the Israeli government do? Israel barred its citizens from leaving the country. Subhanallah. Israel's transportation minister said, we will not approve Israelis' departures abroad at this stage. She also confirmed that the government is working on shipping back over 100,000 Israelis from outside the country back. Because the people don't want to go back to Israel. They're scared to die. But the government is saying, no, you will come back. Where's the freedom of going in and out? Nitin, stench. Every accusation they make is something they've committed themselves. We're tired of this double standards and we're going to expose you for everything you've said. The last clip we're going to be reacting to is probably one of the most eye-opening clips, where the stench says that he needs to solve the Palestinian issue and that the Palestinians have been fighting us for over 100 years, even before there was a state of Israel. Let's respond.
Peace with Israel. We've had 4 historic peace accords. You know, people said you can never have peace because the Palestinians, you first have to solve the Palestinian issue. Well, the Palestinians have been fighting us for 100 years before there was even a state of Israel. And they're not fighting for a state.
What does solving the Palestinian issue sound to you guys like? What does it sound? It sounds very familiar to me. Does it not sound like the Nazis asking, what are we going to do about these Jews? Does it not sound like the Jewish question, where the Nazis proposed a final solution, which was to kill and exterminate and get rid of all the Jews in Europe? Does it not sound like the same? What has been done to your forefathers, you are now committing. What was done to your forefathers, you are now committing. You guys are the modern day Hitler. You guys are the modern day Nazis. Like how you were genocided, you are genociding. So there were Palestinians before there was a state of Israel? So you're saying that there was once not a state of Israel? So where did the state magically pop up from? And why did it pop up where there was a people already living on a land? This is probably the biggest expose. This is the biggest flaw and mistake that you've said thus far. The truth is, Israel was born through European settler colonialism. Foreign Jews backed by Britain came to a land already inhabited, and they took it by force. These were the 4 biggest mistakes that you have said. Everything you've said has been a lie, has been a double standard, and has been hypocrisy at the highest levels. You truly wear your name with pride, because you really are the stench. You are the stench of our modern era. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.